The traditional metrics will reflect purpose over time. So having purpose or being purpose-led is not the absence of metrics, but it's prioritizing the purpose before the metrics. And purpose-led organizations, over time, will demonstrate better metrics. So the companies that are purpose-driven tend to be more profitable, have better tenure of their employees, more loyalty over time, more loyalty from their customers, and the traditional metrics tend to reflect that. It's in the short term that the metrics are not very useful, right? Because sometimes we make purposeful sacrifices to do the right thing if you're purpose-driven and infinite-minded. So I had a meeting at the Pentagon once. And you know when you have a meeting and you wait in the foyer, and then someone comes to get you, and then you walk to the meeting, right? You walk to the hall, and you have this hallway talk. Because it's too uncomfortable to talk about nothing, and it's too premature to start the meeting. So we just say, how's the weather? You know, did you have trouble finding it? You know, did you have trouble getting here? And we sort of have this nonsense hallway talk, and then we walk in the conference room, it ends immediately, and we start the meeting, right? So I was at the Pentagon, and this big general came to get me from the foyer, and we're walking down the hall to his office for the meeting, and so we're making hallway talk. And he says, hey, Simon, I had everyone in my office read your book. And I said, my publisher thanks you. And he said, tell them not to bother, I had them read my copy. Total book sales, 1. Total impact, huge. Compared going to an event where they give out 500 free copies of my book, total book sales 500, but people use them as coasters and doorstops, total impact, 0. And so in the short term, it looks better being at the event from 500 than selling 1. But if I wait over the course of time, that will yield better book sales, because those people will tell their friends to read it, and their friends will go buy a book, who will tell their friends. So the point is if I wait over time, book sales absolutely help me recognize, is the movement growing? But not any particular month I don't care about. And I don't care about what the end, people say, how many books do you want to sell per year? How many speeches do you want to do per year? I don't care. It makes no difference to me whether it's this year or next year. What I want is momentum. The way I measure success with the metrics is the momentum going like this. And the exact dates and the exact numbers, it's like I want to lose a certain amount of weight by a certain date. But what happens if you don't lose the weight by that date? Well, you're still way healthier than you were, even though you missed the goal. So the goals are good because they help drive us and motivate us. But if you hit it or make it, it doesn't matter in the infinite game. It's a guidance, not an absolute. Finite views metrics as absolute. Infinite views metrics as a measure of speed and distance. They're guides. We're going fast or we're going slow. So yes, metrics are hugely important. You can't run a marathon without metrics. You need to know how fast and how far. Right? You need metrics. But the question is how we view them. So traditional metrics are perfectly fine.
But Simon, what do I do with my sales target tomorrow?
No, there's nothing wrong with the sales targeting. Where's that wonderful pad of paper? Hey, Hans, I'll use it.
Yeah, Hans.
I'll use the pad and
I told you.
I know, I'm
the
going to use it.
whiteboard. Yeah, I want to know the sales target.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
There's a lot of people who they say, yeah, nice story, thank you very much, Simon, but now the sales target,
Sure.
6 months, and this is what you have to do.
Right.
Where's
I'll just
save that one.
No, I'll just talk it. That's fine. I can just speak it.
Okay.
We'll use our imagination.
Okay.
There's nothing wrong with sales targeting. Like I said, having goals gives us something specific. If I said to you, you will get a bonus at the end of the year if you accomplish more, you're going to say, how much more? And I'm going to say, more. It's actually unnerving, right? It's actually unnerving. Give me a number, give me a date, and I can work towards that. There's nothing wrong with that. So there's nothing wrong with targets. Just like I said, if you say I want to lose a certain amount of weight by a certain date, that's actually very helpful than I want to lose weight, right? Like I want to lose 5 kilos by X date, you can do that, right? The question is how we get there. I don't have a problem with the metrics. So this is a traditional model, right? I need everybody in the company to hit this number, or I need your team to hit this number by the end of the year. And it's usually annual because that's when we pay taxes, right? Because if we pay taxes every 18 months, the targets would all be 18 months, right? So here's one team. Team 1, performance is like this. Morale is like this. Like when we're doing well, everybody's happy. When we're doing badly, everybody's mad and sad. People are quitting. People are getting fired. There's layoffs, one quarter because we missed the numbers. And at the end of the year, we have a hard promotion, and we hit the number on the date. And that leader and that team is given a bonus, right? Which sends a message to the rest of the company. If this is how you do business, you'll do very well here. Then there's another team that's really well led. Morale is really good all the time. No one quits. No one's getting laid off. No one gets fired. Everything's great. Same target. They love each other. You ask the people, they all love their jobs, right? And at the end of 12 months, they miss the target. We give that team and that leader nothing. So basically what we're saying is, if you run your business this way, you won't do well at this company. I don't have a problem with the target, because clearly this team is going to hit the target in 14 months. But they missed the arbitrary date, and they missed the arbitrary projection. And so we have to consider not just if they make it, but how they make it. And this team should get should be respected more than this team, because this is good, steady growth. This is what keeps companies healthy. This is dangerous. It looks good on paper, but it's destroying the people and it's destroying the culture, and it just can't last. So I don't have any problem with targets, and that's not a problem. But the problem is, are they absolute, and are we considering the manner in which we achieve our goals?
Clear. Other questions? Who?
Yes, thanks.
And hold it close to your mouth, otherwise people can't hear it.
Okay.
Yep.
Yes. So it's kind of funny because I had exactly the same question as the lady over there, and yeah. And I love your answer, but still I really want to walk away today with which metrics should we then be adding as of tomorrow next to the metrics that we have right now.
I like the question of what metrics are we adding. That's very interesting. So performance metrics, as we've already agreed, are perfectly valid over time. So what metrics are missing, right? So I had an opportunity to meet with somebody from the SEAL teams. And few would debate that the SEALs are one of the highest performing organizations on the planet, right? And I asked them, how do you choose? Like, this is like SEAL Team 6 kind of stuff, right? Like, they get they take people from the SEALs and they put them in SEAL Team 6. How do you choose? And he says, we look at this is the head of training. This is the head of training who told me this. We look at two metrics, the two axes. We look at performance, and we look at trust. And the way we define those terms is this is performance on the battlefield, and this is how you are off the battlefield. So this is how good you are at your job. Do you make the metrics? Do you make the numbers? Do you hit the revenue targets? Whatever. But this is the kind of person you are when it's not the meeting, right? So I may trust going to a meeting with you, but I may not want to hang out with you when I'm stuck in an airport. The way they put it is, I trust you with my life, but I don't trust you with my money or my wife. That's how they put it. Clearly, nobody wants this person on their team, a low performer of low trust. Clearly. Clearly, everybody wants this person, the high performer of high trust on their team. Clearly. This is what they learned. This person over here, the high performer of low trust, is a toxic team member, which eventually becomes a toxic leader if we keep promoting them. That's a toxic team member. And they would rather have a medium performer of high trust, sometimes even a low performer of high trust, it's a relative scale, over this person. We have 1 million metrics at work for performance, and we have negligible to no metrics for trust. So it's not that we don't care about these things, it's we don't know how to recognize these things. We don't know who these people are. And sometimes we do, and we say, why do you let that person be on a team? And we go, their numbers are so good. In other words, We allow these people to stay, even though they're pulling down the performance of everybody else. Now, that doesn't mean we should immediately fire them, right? Just like I don't believe you should immediately fire a low performer, you should coach them and help them get their performance up. If somebody is of low trust, we should coach them. But if they prove to be uncoachable, the cause is bigger than any of us, and so it's time to find some place where you'll be happier, because clearly, if we're not happy, I can guarantee you're not happy. So here's the joke. It is unbelievably easy to find these people. Just go to any team and ask, who's the asshole? And they'll all point to the same person. So to answer your question, the thing that we're missing is peer review. We don't have peer reviews. Our bosses tell us how well we're doing, so we're all working for one person's approval. If you have a great boss, great. If you're unlucky and you don't, then you're screwed, because it's one person's approval that determines my entire career, right? So peer review, I think, should be not the only, but one of, because I think both are important, right? So asking, and it should never be used, it should be used as an evaluation tool. In other words, 360 reviews. So we took 360 reviews, and one of the ways that we did it, we made our own, and I'll tell you how we do it, which is we take a team, which is defined by a group of people who work together, not to do with the hierarchy. So it's not just marketing, sales. Like, if you're an engineer and I'm a marketer and I talk to you every single day, we're on the same team, right? So a team is defined as a group of people who work together on a regular basis, right? We take a team, and every single team member has to take a piece of paper and write, what are my top 3 weaknesses or places I need the most help, with 3 specific examples. What are my top 3 specific examples of my biggest weaknesses or things I need to improve? And then 3 specific examples of my biggest strengths or the places that I believe I've grown the most. All of those pieces of paper are collated and shared amongst the whole team. And then we all get together in a room, and one by one, each person gets to start, and they pull out their paper, and the first thing they do is read out their top 3 weaknesses with their examples, and then everyone in the room is allowed to add more. And the only thing they're allowed to say is thank you. No excuses, no explanations, just thank you. And the reason is because we tell them, there's a little speech we give at the beginning, that what we're asking each other to do is really, really uncomfortable. It is really uncomfortable to tell people I work with, sometimes people more senior than me, where they're hurting me, where they suck, right? And they would rather not tell you. But they're gonna tell you because they want to see you grow and become a better version of yourself. So when they give you this information, say thank you. If you have an emotional reaction, anger, it's probably because what they're telling you is true. That's what we tell, that's what we say. And we also say, if they're telling you something that's just wrong, no emotional reaction, you're just thinking, yeah, no, then ignore it. Say thank you for the feedback and move on. You don't have to, it's not all gospel. It's feedback, right? Then when we're done with the top 3 weaknesses, we do the exact same thing with the top 3 strengths. You read your own, and then anyone at the table can add to it. And what you start to discover is that you are actually having a positive influence in people's lives that you didn't even realize. So it ends on an amazing high. Then we have to have the ability to coach to those weaknesses and strengths. So it's not over. Now, over the course of the year, we now have data that shows us where you can grow on your weaknesses, grow your strengths, because we want you to get even better, and mitigate your weaknesses, and we're going to coach each other or have outside coaches to help. But we have data now. And then at the end of the year, what we want to see, or actually, I don't like annual reviews, I like quarterly reviews. That's a whole separate thing. Because I want to see growth. Because when you do an annual review, really you're only getting reviewed on the past 3 months because nobody can remember what happened 6 months ago. You know, you've been amazing for 9 months, and the past 3 months you sucked, and that's what your review says, you know? So quarterly you can show growth. But then what we want to do is we want to see that people are growing, not just performing, we want to see them growing. So that's one thing you can do, is start implementing some sort of peer review. And if you identify these people, coach them, and if they prove to be uncoachable, do you have the courage to ask these people to go help another company?
Is that a little bit of an answer? Yes? Yes?